Imagine you're standing in a New York warehouse in 1885, staring at hundreds of wooden crates stacked floor to ceiling. Inside those crates is one of the most famous statues in human history, and nobody wants it. That's actually what happened. The Statue of Liberty arrived in America before America was ready for it, and honestly, before America even wanted it. Most people think this statue was welcomed with open arms from day one, a proud gift from France that the whole country celebrated together. But the real story is way more interesting than that. Because before it became a symbol of freedom for millions of people, it was almost a national embarrassment. And the reason it survived at all has nothing to do with politicians or wealthy donors. It has everything to do with ordinary people who gave what little they had. So let's go back to the beginning, because this story starts somewhere most people don't expect. Not in New York, but in France. It was the 1860s, and a French historian named Edouard de Laboulaye had an idea. He wanted to build something that celebrated the friendship between France and the United States, something that honored the idea of liberty and democracy. He brought in a sculptor named Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi, who came up with the design, a massive woman holding a torch above her head, standing at the entrance to New York Harbor. The plan was straightforward. France would pay to build the statue itself. America would build the pedestal it stood on. Then they'd put it all together on a small island in the harbor. Simple, right? Except almost immediately, the American side of that deal started falling apart. The problem wasn't the concept. Most people agreed the statue sounded impressive on paper. The problem was money. Specifically, who was going to pay for that pedestal? And when fundraisers started approaching wealthy businessmen and politicians, they kept hearing the same answer. No. Some felt it wasn't their responsibility. Others thought the government should handle it. A few just didn't see the point. And that attitude wasn't just in private meetings. It was showing up in newspapers, too. Editorial cartoons mocked the project. Writers called it a foolish waste. Some argued that America had real problems to deal with, and that building a giant statue for a French gift wasn't exactly a priority. Meanwhile, France was actually doing the work. Bartholdi and his team were building the statue piece by piece. Hundreds of copper sections were being shaped and fitted together across the Atlantic. Meanwhile, the pedestal in New York was barely started because the money kept running dry. By the early 1880s, construction on the pedestal had basically stalled. The situation was serious enough that people started floating alternative ideas. Maybe the statue could go to another city. Maybe it could be placed somewhere other than New York. Some people genuinely believed the whole project was going to collapse. And then 1885 arrived, and things got even more awkward. France shipped the statue to America. All of it. Hundreds of pieces packed into crates, loaded onto a ship, and sent across the Atlantic. The ship arrived in New York Harbor, and people came out to watch. There was genuine excitement seeing these massive pieces come off the boat. But underneath that excitement was a pretty embarrassing reality. The pedestal still wasn't finished. The statue had shown up, and America literally had nowhere to put it. A monument meant to celebrate liberty was sitting in boxes on the dock because the country couldn't get its act together to raise the money. That's the moment where this story could have ended badly. And honestly, it probably would have, if not for one person who decided to do something completely different. Joseph Pulitzer owned the New York World newspaper, and he was watching all of this unfold. He saw the stalled fundraising, the mockery, the crates sitting there with nowhere to go. And instead of going back to the same wealthy donors who had already said no, he went directly to ordinary Americans. Pulitzer launched a campaign through his newspaper, and his message was simple. Every donation mattered, no matter how small. A few cents, a dollar, whatever people could give. And he promised that anyone who contributed would see their name printed in the paper. That changed everything. The response was unlike anything the fundraisers had seen before. Donations started pouring in from people who had never been asked to be part of something like this. Factory workers sent money, teachers contributed, farmers, shop owners, and children who emptied their piggy banks all sent whatever they could spare. Most of the individual amounts were tiny. Some people gave less than $1. But together, those small contributions added up to something the wealthy elite had refused to provide on their own. The pedestal got funded. Construction resumed. Workers on Bedloe's Island finished the base, and then the real work began, assembling the statue itself, piece by piece, like the world's most complicated puzzle. Engineers connected hundreds of copper sections, working through the details of a structure unlike anything built before. On October 28, 1886, the Statue of Liberty was officially dedicated. There was a massive celebration in New York Harbor. Ships, crowds, speeches, the whole thing. The project that had once seemed like it might never happen was finally standing in the harbor where it was always meant to be. But here's the part that tends to get left out. The statue didn't immediately become the beloved symbol we know today. That transformation happened gradually, over years, as ships carrying immigrants began arriving in New York Harbor from all over the world. For millions of people, the Statue of Liberty was one of the first things they saw when approaching America. For people who had left everything behind and crossed an ocean searching for a better life, that image meant something powerful. It wasn't just a statue anymore. It became a signal that they had made it. A symbol of freedom, a symbol of opportunity, a symbol of a new beginning. The monument that critics once called unnecessary became, for millions of people, the most important thing they saw upon arrival. That's the irony of the entire story. The same people who argued that America had better things to spend money on could never have imagined what the statue would eventually mean. Not just to Americans, but to the world. Today, it's one of the most recognizable landmarks on Earth. And it almost didn't happen because the country couldn't agree to fund its own pedestal. France fulfilled its promise completely. They built the statue, shipped it, and delivered everything they said they would. The struggle happened entirely on the American side. And in the end, the people who saved the project weren't wealthy donors or powerful politicians. They were ordinary citizens sending coins, dollar bills, and whatever little they could afford. The most famous symbol of freedom in the world survived because enough ordinary people decided it was worth saving.